Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bringing everyone into the lobby. Ask everyone to kindly mute your lines. Steve, we are
Wonderful. Hi, good morning to everybody tuning in from Washington or here in the U.S., and certainly good afternoon to everybody joining from Iraq or elsewhere in the region. Here at the beginning of the program, if we can ask everybody to please mute your audio in order to hear our speakers. And then at the end of the program, if we have time for Q&A, we'll certainly open it up. My name is Steve Lutz. I'm president of the U.S. Iraq Business Council at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And I'm joined by my colleague, Anna Burris, manager of the Iraq Council, and really the organizer for today's event. Hat tip to Anna, thank you. And we do want to welcome everyone to today's virtual signing ceremony, which is being held to celebrate a new partnership between the member of our U.S. Iraq Business Council, Bell Finance, and the American University of Iraq, Sulaimani, who have collaborated to organize and host a private sector development finance seminar for AUIS students. To our member companies, to our friends in government, and to those from academia, thank you for being with us today. And I do want to especially thank Her Excellency Bayan Rahman, the KRG's representative to the United States, and both Omar Mohammed and Hiro, who are joining us from the Iraqi embassy here in Washington, D.C. And we're pleased to be hosting today's webinar in partnership with Bell Finance and AUIS in close collaboration with Jorge Vila, our member of the council, and of course, Bruce Ferguson, president of AUIS. Before we get the formal program underway, just a quick word of context. Why is the Chamber, why is the U.S. Iraq Business Council hosting this? Well, the Chamber is the world's largest business advocacy organization. We operate, of course, in all 50 states, but more importantly, around the globe in over 50 countries, focused on free enterprise, advancing American trade and investment globally, and representing companies of all sizes and sectors and in markets around the globe. And as many of you know, the Chamber has a very active program across the Middle East. In fact, we are the largest department, the international division. And in that Middle East department, we're incredibly proud to be home to the U.S. Iraq Business Council. Some of you have been very active with us for many years, and the council comprises companies across a range of sectors and industries. And I do want to acknowledge that while the global community continues, of course, to face uncertainty and challenging times, at the U.S. Iraq Business Council, we remain very committed to working with both governments, the U.S. government, the government of Iraq, and well as the KRG, on behalf of our members to deepen and grow the bilateral economic relationship. And we believe in our strategic and economic interests to maintain and grow that relationship. And while we're appreciative that there is turbulence in the short term, we will continue to support American companies that are doing business and investing in Iraq, while also looking for ways to expand those ties. And that can range from advocating for pro-growth economic reforms to organizing events like this that bring together key stakeholders and trumpet important developments like this. So we very much believe that a strong economy can be a stabilizing agent and really help foster independence and the type of dynamism we think that Iraq richly deserves and needs. And in the case of Iraq, we believe that empowering the private sector and sparking economic growth to drive private sector job creation, investment, and entrepreneurism is really an essential component to advancing our own economic reform goals and advancing that trade and investment ties between our two countries. And that brings us to why we are here today, to celebrate the announcement of a new creative partnership between Bell Finance and AUIS, who have joined together to offer a new program, a new seminar to business students that will develop their credit analysis skills and give these aspiring business leaders of tomorrow the practical expertise and experience they will need to succeed in a career field of financing for private sector projects. To briefly preview today's program, we're going to first hear from our program partners, the organizers of this exciting new effort, AUIS President Bruce Ferguson and Bell Finance General Manager Jorge Vila. They'll be followed by special messages from the Economic Unit Chief there at the U.S. Consulate in Erbil, Lisa Podolny, and then a voice from the field, Basta Sirwan Salih, an AUIS graduate and somebody who completed a similar finance program in 2017 with IMMDF. And then finally, we'll turn to, we'll have our signing ceremony, of course, and then we will hear from several key partners in this effort. Wolfgang Hicks, Vice President of Academic Affairs at AUIS, Dennis Flannery, board member at Bell Finance, Chris Sale, Chairman of the Board of Directors of IMMDF and Bell Finance, and David Weiss, CEO of Global. In the interest of time, I'm going to stop here, and I want to invite Bruce Ferguson, AUIS President, to take the floor and share some opening comments. Bruce, it's all yours.
Many thanks, Steve, and thank you as well to the U.S. Iraq Business Council and U.S. Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I also see several friends and colleagues on the call, and I welcome all of you. It's good to see you. With 1,300 students and faculty from 14 different countries, the American University of Iraq in Sulaimani is very proud of its role as a strong, not-for-profit institution operated for the public benefit. It is nonpartisan and non-sectarian, without obligation to any political or religious group. It has no owners or stockholders. Our university helps to build bridges within the Kurdistan region, from the region to the rest of Iraq and to the rest of the world. Almost every day we ask ourselves, what should we be teaching our students? Or more precisely, what is it that our students need to learn? Perhaps we should teach them what they'll need for their jobs, such as substantive knowledge, soft skills, including leadership and teamwork, the ability to show up for meetings on time. Or should we teach them how to be good citizens, develop their depth of character, personal responsibility, tolerance of different backgrounds and beliefs, and community involvement? Or perhaps we should merely focus on helping them to think clearly, using fact and logic rather than emotion and hearsay, which may sound simple, but is not. Actually, we teach all these things, and we teach them in different ways, inside and outside the classroom, using the lecture method, Socratic dialogue, experiential learning, project-based learning, and extracurricular and co-curricular programs. The method of teaching, we believe, can be as important as what is taught. That is one reason why the Development Finance Seminar we announced today is so interesting and so vital. Its innovative structure and content will help our graduates not only to find good jobs, but to create good jobs. Not only to be good citizens, but to develop good citizenship in others. Not only to think clearly, but to inspire others to do the same. You will hear much more about the seminar and the Bell Scholarships from other speakers, so I will simply say that the project owes its existence to the creativity and deep experience of our partner, Mr. Jorge Vila. On behalf of AUIS, Jorge, I thank you for engaging us in this fascinating and important learning initiative that can help set the stage for future courses and programs at AUIS, as well as future triple helix partnerships in finance among government, industry, and universities. Thank you.
Well, Bruce, thank you for really setting the stage in the wonderful context. Those were inspiring words for certain. Next, we'd love to turn to the partner that you referenced, Bruce, Jorge Vila. Jorge, we're going to turn it to you for your opening comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve and Anna at the U.S. Iraq Business Council for hosting this ceremony, for the very hard work that you put to organize it. Thank you, American University, for the privilege of teaching again at the UIS. We saw in 2017 how talented and eager to learn your students are and how committed to education you all are. Thank you, Bruce, for your very kind words. Bell Finance was created to continue MDEF's lending and educational activities in Iraq since 2004, 17 years ago. The story of IMDEF is simple and can be told very quickly. Founded by global communities in June 2004, actually the 24th, 4 days ago, and funded by credit facilities from the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, or DFC, formerly OPIC. IMDEF dispersed nearly $80 million in 3 to 5 year loans to 53 agricultural, industrial, and manufacturing private sector companies to finance projects that generated employment and economic growth, from Basra to the Hook. We financed medium to large size companies with annual gross revenues ranging from 2 to 50 million, at an average, of course, of 1.5 million per loan. This perspective is important to understand what we will teach. Over 60 people work at IMDEF since it was founded, of about 10 nationalities, including at least 30 Iraqis. As we celebrate IMDEF's 17th birthday, actually 4 days late, it was on the 24th, we have in attendance several founders. Robert Ramheller, a member of the board of IMDEF and Bell, at the time Senior Vice President at OPIC, Bob Berry, Managing Director of Credit Policy at DFC, David Strine, the very first general manager that IMDEF had in 2004, and Caroline Clamp, our legal advisor in Washington, who has been advising us for 17 years and 4 days. Bill plans to finance the same type of companies. I'm mindful of the time, of course. I will not go over the 5 minutes, in spite of my reputation for not being able to tell short stories. Bill plans to finance the same type of companies with the same objective, with 3 very important changes. We will co-finance projects or companies with Iraqi banks, mobilizing private sector Iraqi capital. So the leverage impact will be double. Companies must adopt food security standards, particularly companies in the agricultural sector, ISO certificates, essentially. And they must enhance the role of women in the production process by offering them access to medium and senior management positions. Our 2017 Development Finance Seminar at American University, 50% of the 18 participants were women. And I'm glad to report that they did just as well, if not better than men. Our new seminar is going to be much longer in scope and depth of credit analysis, 29 weeks against 6. It is structured along a few simple concepts. We will share with students the lessons learned by IMDEF, originating, monitoring loans, and when necessary, enforcing those loans in default. We will show them a practical approach to extending credit, guiding them through the process of preparing their own business plans, loan applications, credit assessments, credit proposals, and loan agreements. There will be an interesting twist. They don't know it yet, but they will soon. When it comes to credit assessments, they will change hats because they will have to think as lenders, not as borrowers, and they will swap seats because they will do the credit assessment for the other team's project. There will be 2 teams of 5 students each. Then the credit proposals, and finally the loan agreements. We will show them, we will demonstrate that based on the 53 projects that IMDEF financed, that credit is available in Iraq beyond land as collateral. We will show them how to address credit challenges like preparing realistic assessments of supply and demand, financial projections and valuation of assets, which in a post-conflict country like Iraq are very difficult to overcome. The stories and the examples are so many that it's impossible. They are impossible to put in the time that we have. Certainly not for me. At the end, the students of the best of the 2 teams will be awarded Bell scholarships, and all of them will be offered as well the possibility of credit internship at Iraqi financial institutions. We had a couple of conversations with a couple of institutions, and we believe that that will be possible. Finally, on behalf of IMDEF and Bell, I would like to express our gratitude to To the many people whose support made this possible, the board of directors of IMDEF and Bell, apologies, I only have 10 seconds left. I cannot name them, but they were vital. They are the main reason why we are here together with David Weiss, the president of Global Communities, who, who, in spite of the daily reasons for not being optimistic, with relentless determination and vision, supported Bell until today. DFC, what so many names at DFC, from Robert Mosbacher, who founded IMDEF when he was president of OPIC, the main driver behind this story. Bob Berry, Mary Ryan, Cindy Shepard, I apologize for not naming all of you. We learned so much from you. Thank you to the U.S. Embassy and the U.S. Consulate, to which we went often with problems, looking for support, which they always were prepared to give. And thank you to AUIS for giving us these opportunities. And finally, to my colleagues, Masin Abu Shaban, Michael Telford, and Caroline Clamp for agreeing to teach part of the seminar. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Jorge. And I have to say, I don't know if you remember, but Ben, gosh, over 10 years ago, you took me to a cornfield and then a grain elevator, and we met some farmers that MDEF was supporting, through financing. And I'll never forget that. Somebody having grown up on a farm in Indiana, I said, well, this is clearly a guy I need to know and know well. So we've been friends ever since. So it's great to hear the progress and story. And I have to say that this new seminar to build capacity in finance, it's something that we know is absolutely critical and needed, in order to have, really real and sustained economic growth, to have entrepreneurism and SMEs, you need financing at the foundation. So, kudos to the university and Bell Finance for moving this forward. Before we go to the actual virtual signing ceremony, we do want to hear a special message that Lisa from the U.S. Consulate there in Erbil, who runs the economic unit, has provided to us. So Anna, if I could go to you so we can hear from Lisa.
Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Podolny. I'm the Economic Unit Chief here at the U.S. Consulate in Erbil. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of the U.S. government to show our support for this important partnership between Bell Finance and the American University in Sulaimani to bring development finance and expertise to the region. I'd also like to thank Steve, Anna, and the whole U.S. Iraq Business Council for hosting this virtual signing ceremony. Simply put, access to finance matters in so many ways for the Kurdistan region. It matters for economic development. There is a considerable evidence for a strong causal relationship between the depth of a financial system, as measured, for example, by the supply for private credit, and investment, growth, poverty, total factor productivity, and similar indicators. Indeed, many empirical studies have shown initial financial developments to be one of the few robust determinants of a country's subsequent growth. It also matters for the well-being of people beyond overall economic growth. Finance can help individuals smooth their income, insure against risks, and broaden investment opportunities. Finance can be particularly important for the poor. Recent evidence has shown that a more developed financial system can reduce poverty and income inequality overall. Financial access promotes growth for enterprises through the provision of credit to new and existing businesses. And it benefits the economy in general by accelerating economic growth, intensifying competition, as well as boosting demand for labor. The incomes of those at the lower end of the income ladder typically rise, hence reducing income inequality and poverty overall. According to the World Bank, although nearly 90% of private sector jobs in Iraq are generated by smaller businesses, the financial gap for the SME sector is estimated at $38 billion. Fewer than 7% of the country's formal SMEs have access to loans, while over 60% are fully or partially credit constrained. This seminar addresses a critical gap in developing access to finance, the lack of education and knowledge needed to understand financial services that are available to SMEs and how to access those services. So I want to both congratulate and to thank Bruce and Jorge, Bell Finance and AUIS for partnering on this important effort. I'm sorry I could not be there live to send you these wishes in person, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this collaboration develops and to taking part in future events.
Well, really wonderful message there from Lisa. And of course, she carried those words also on behalf of the Consul General, Rob Waller. And I think she really told the story very well. So accolades all around for this new seminar. With that, we're going to now go to the part of the program where we make it official. So Bruce, Jorge, I believe you both have your documents. So I'm going to turn it over to you to conduct the actual signing. It's great that we can do these things virtually now, but please.
So on three, Jorge.
3, 2, 1, go.
Very good. I also added additional certification, which I know you as a finance expert will appreciate. Congratulations, Jorge.
Congratulations, and thank you very much for this immense opportunity, Bruce. Thank you very much.
Round of applause. Congratulations. Excellent. Well, to keep it going, we're going to now turn to a voice from the field. As I mentioned, we're going to hear from Basta Sirwan Salih, an AUIS grad and somebody who's taken a similar finance development seminar. Basta?
Thank you so much, Mr. Lutz. I'm really glad to be here talking to you today. As you guys know, I'm Basta Sirwan. I'm an AUIS graduate. Back in 2017, I attended a development finance webinar with MDEV with Mr. Jorge Vila. Basically, I was one of the 18 students that attended that webinar. 18 students in the business major were chosen to go through this webinar because they were all high achievers and they had big commitment towards the course. I really want to give a brief summary about my journey in college. As I was an engineer, I was studying for engineering for 3 years, but then I decided to change my major because I saw a very big gap in the market for all operation management and finance sectors. So I saw the opportunity, and even though a lot of people conflicted with this decision, had different opinions about it, but I did it. So this is why I strongly believe in what MDEV is doing. It's because they're really helping to support the financial sector in Iraq, and which I believe has a long way to go, and it needs a lot of improvements. And we need a lot of knowledge transfer from you guys, an already developed country, so we can actually finance our businesses better. I would like to speak a little bit about what the program or the webinar was about. Basically, it was a pragmatical approach where in countries like Iraq, we are post-conflict country, where it's not too long that we came out of a war zone and the country is basically healing. So MDEV has been in this field for 17 to 15 years. I'm not sure, I think it's 17 years. So they have like lending experience in the country, and which is the main reason why I believe that MDEV is one of the best commercial banks that there could be. Our basically approach was not just credit theory, but also a very practical approach, where we had to think of a hypothetical company, created, and try to seek financing for it. So we had to raise all the issues and the questions that they would actually, in real life, they would face if a company would ask for financing. So it was really more of like a practical approach, and we were more focusing on Iraq and how lending is going on and how credit lending actually is in Iraq. So We also have a few points here. We also took a trip, which was to Howler, which I think was the best part of the webinar, where we met a company owner that's been in like the field for almost 20 years, I think even more. I think it was more. He basically explained all of the issues that his company faced. And we saw the actual production happening in front of our eyes. And we had the chance to ask him questions and learn about his experience with MDEF. So it was really hands-on experience, and I really enjoyed every part. In the end, I know I have like 1 minute left. I would really like to thank Ms. Jorge Vila for providing this opportunity for business graduates from AUIS. I know that our classes have more of a theoretical approach to everything. This was very eye-opening and very beneficial to me personally. And this is why the reason I chose to speak in front of you today is because of that. And I would like to thank the U.S. Consulate in Erbil. And I would like to mention that the webinar has an opportunity for internships and scholarship. And it's a very wide coverage of detailed credit lending in process in Iraq. So I really encourage everyone to apply and join. Thank you so much.
Basta, thank you so much for that testimonial. And it's very interesting to hear how impactful it was for you to, go and kind of have that hands-on experience and engage directly, with somebody in the field, as they say. So very interesting. And thank you for sharing that. We really do appreciate that and appreciate your contribution to this discussion today. Well, next up, we're going to kind of turn to our panel of experts. And first out of the gate, we will go to Wolfgang Hicks, Vice President of Academic Affairs at AUIS, to help understand about AUIS in the future. Wolfgang?
Thank you so much, Stephen. Thank you so much for everyone. I would especially like to thank Jorge Vila, of course, of Bell Finance, to provide our students with this opportunity. Now, AUIS is all about capacity building and learning, whether inside of the classroom or outside of the classroom. So this project is a perfect fit for us. We're actually so committed to learning that we were the first university in the whole Middle East to go online a year ago when COVID arrived. We were the only university to offer uninterrupted education in Iraq throughout the pandemic. And we could not do this without the support of externals who are interested in what we do. We're located in Iraq. And if you haven't been here before, this is an awesome, awesome, awesome region. I know there are several attendees today from the United States, but if you have not come over here, please come, because what we often see in the media is not necessarily what we can see here on the ground. We continue to provide the kind of education that the region needs to develop for economic prosperity, for stability. But we also continue to need the help and the support of everybody around us. Now, once again, this region is much more advanced than sometimes what my friends in Germany, for example, see on the news. And I always like to tell them, because I am from Germany, and often people talk about BMW, Mercedes, and Porsche. Well, actually, the wheel was invented in this region. So there would be no Porsche, there would be no BMW, there would be no Mercedes without this region. We're very committed to what we do over here. Capacity building. This is an important factor to create this kind of future for the region that we all want to see. And if you're interested in learning more about what we do, if you're interested in to learn more about the vision of AUIS, what we stand for as a really still young university of just a little over 10 years, please feel free to contact me at any time. And if you can, please come over here. Once again, thank you so much for these opportunities. Our students will learn tremendously from these projects in which they can engage and actually have some hands-on experience in their field of study. Thank you so much again.
Well, thank you, Wolfgang. And I can say personally, I've had the opportunity to visit the campus a few times pre-pandemic, and it's a beautiful institution. But more important than the physical structure is what goes on with the staff, with the the teachers and of course with the students. So that's where the real richness is. So congratulations, and congratulations on going online and staying open. That's an incredible accomplishment. So we look forward to amazing things to continue to come out of AUIS. Next, let me turn to, if I may, Dennis Flannery, a member of the board of directors of MDEF and Bell Finance. Dennis, would love to hear your thoughts, given your background, on why a seminar like this is, why this is helpful, why this is important to Iraq. Dennis?
Thank you very much, Steve. Can you hear me okay? Is the mute?
Yes, off? Sure can.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much, Steve and Anna. Thank you for hosting this event. It's really great to have you all as the host. And I also want to congratulate Jorge and Bruce on signing the documents today to launch this new seminar. This is a great event. It's something that the board of directors, as Jorge mentioned, the board of directors of MDEF and Bell support very much under Jorge's leadership. Also, I'll just say that I have visited AUIS. It's a beautiful campus and a very impressive institution in the Middle East and anywhere. It's a great university, and we're delighted to have a partnership with AUIS. Now, in Iraq, the banking sector is one of the sectors which has really lagged behind any improvements after the difficulties that Iraq has gone through for many, many years. And as mentioned by Lisa earlier, the demands are enormous for financing, for rebuilding Iraq and getting the private sector up and running. It's very important to have a robust financial sector. And Iraq, sadly, has not yet turned the corner on developing its financial sector, but it will. That's going to happen. And when it happens, there's going to be a tremendous need for human capital, for talent to operate the financial sector. During the course of the last 50 years or so, a lot of the veterans of finance that were in Iraq years ago have left, and a tremendous void has followed in terms of talent in the banking sector. So there's a great need for leadership and people in the financial sector to lead the way in the future. And so we hope that this seminar can be one step in that process to help the students at AUIS take advantage of these opportunities, which will be coming down the road in the future, and to help lead the financial sector in Iraq, the new financial sector in Iraq, to a brighter future. We think that's going to be an opportunity that's going to be there for the taking, and we're pleased that Jorge has developed this initiative to help IMMDF and Bell Finance partner with AUIS to help the students develop the skills that they need through the very practical approach to this seminar. I'll just close by commenting on the transition that IMMDF is going through right now. As Jorge mentioned, IMMDF has been virtually the only source of medium-term financing for the private sector of Iraq for the last 15 years or so. Virtually the only source. The Iraqi banks have not been providing medium-term finance in the Iraqi private sector, but IMMDF has. And the intention is for Bell Finance to succeed IMMDF in this mission and to continue providing finance for the private sector of Iraq. And so we hope that we can help lead the way. And we also hope that the Iraqi banking sector, the private banks in Iraq, will come out of their long hiatus and also provide financing to help the Iraqi financial sector, or the Iraqi private sector, rebuild the country, which is terribly, terribly needed. So we hope that the students in this seminar and the students at AUIS will be among the leaders, the new leaders of the future Iraqi banking sector. I think I'll just leave it there, Steve. And again, thanks to you and Anna for hosting this, and congratulations to Jorge and Bruce for this, this nice event today.
Well, thank you, Dennis. It really dovetails, what you just said dovetails well with, I think, what we heard from Basta. And I think you're right. I think it is a bright future, knowing that the Basta and the likes of Basta will be kind of driving, you know, that new era of financial sector reform and opportunity in Iraq. So we are in good hands with Basta, and this seminar will help generate more talent in the field. So we're very excited about that. So thank you, Dennis. Next, I'd like to turn to Chris Sale, also on the board of directors, in fact, the chairman of the board of directors of IMMDF and Bell Finance. Chris?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, as the case may be. I'm not going to spend too much time because I think what I wanted to say was that IMDEF has been working in Iraq for 17 years, and we're hoping to be able to continue its progress under the construct of the Bell Company, where we will be engaging with Iraqi banks, which will be enabling us to support Iraqi banks in the lending process that Dennis has just so clearly articulated needs, represents a great need for entrepreneurs in Iraq. In the years that Jorge described, with 53 loans on an average of $1 million, $1.5 million, we estimate that Iraq, or IMDEF's loans, supported the development of at least 2,000 jobs directly. That is to say, the farmer who said he needed a new warehouse, the manufacturer who needed additional equipment or trucks or whatever that was financed by IMDEF, generated an immediate job there. But we also know the suppliers to all of those entrepreneurs and the people that are part of that entrepreneur's process also grew their business because the Iraqi entrepreneur was needing more from them. And we estimate that that generated at least 10,000 jobs in Iraq that were indirectly created through the work of IMDEF. And we certainly hope that we can continue this in collaboration with Iraqi banks through the Bell Company, because I think it's not just necessary, but it is an appropriate vehicle to assist the economic development in Iraq writ large. Doing this work takes commitment. It also takes courage, and it takes innovation. I am thrilled that the American University in Iraq, in Sulaimani, has been brave in saying, we'll go with you on this journey, not just in 2017, but going forward this year. And I can't wait to hear the stories, I will, from Jorge, of the individual students that come to participate and what their progress is. It's something that I relished the last time, and I am delighted to have been able to see in person Basta, and the enthusiasm that she expresses is good news for Iraq, not just for us. And with that, I thank the Chamber of Commerce for its support. I've seen behind the scenes the many phone calls and the encouragement and the commitment, the U.S. Embassy and the staff at the Consul as well. It takes a village, and it's working. So let's keep it going. And thank you, Steve, for making all this happen. Good day.
Well, Chris, thank you very much. And it's really interesting to hear you put numbers, you know, to the impact that that's had. And it's both the direct and the indirect. So it's always interesting to understand the type of reach, you know, that these programs have, and how they're really changing people's lives and their livelihood, of course. So that's wonderful to hear. And we are really looking forward to hearing, you know, like you said, the new generation of stories that this seminar will generate. So thank you for that. Next on the panel, I'd like to turn to David Weiss, CEO of Global Communities, to understand and get some background on their work in Iraq. David?
Well, thank you, Steve. It's such a pleasure for me to be with all of you today. I want to extend, first of all, my appreciation and my thanks to the U.S. Iraq Business Council, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and especially to Bruce Ferguson and the American University of Iraq and Sulaimani and Jorge Vila from IMDEF for this partnership. It's really looking at the gallery of people, all the little boxes with all your faces in it. It's so wonderful, not just to meet some new friends and supporters, but to see many old friends and colleagues as well. And I thank all of you for your support over the years of IMDEF and now going forward, hopefully for Bell Finance as well. As you've heard, Bell Finance and the Iraq Middle Market Development Foundation, IMDEF, which is managed by Global Communities, and we're formerly known and probably better known in Iraq as CHF International, are committed to the growth of a robust private sector in Iraq and to help building the skills of students, some of whom no doubt will be Iraq's next generation of business leaders. Through IMDEF's lending to larger scale Iraqi companies, supported by the Overseas Private Investment Corporation initially, now the U.S. Development Finance Corporation, our aim has been to foster private sector growth and stability and job creation. As IMDEF winds down its operation and evolves into the new Bell Finance Company, we look to continue our commitment to growing Iraq's vibrant private sector. Global Communities at present is the 100% owner of Bell, but I am aware and hopeful about some keen interest by Iraqi financial institutions in becoming equity stakeholders in Bell, and we're actively encouraging other companies with longer-term interests in Iraq to also invest in Bell Finance. Global Communities is a nonprofit for-impact organization with programs that span humanitarian assistance, longer-term sustainable development, and financial inclusion. We have a strong and long-term commitment to Iraq and its people, to our mission of bringing together local ingenuity and global insights to save lives, advance equity, and secure strong futures. Our commitment to Iraq goes back to 2003, when we began our Access to Credit Services in Iraq program to provide microfinance loans for housing, for home improvement, for small business, for education, and other purposes that not only can help individuals to prosper and thrive, but to do so in a manner that helps provide them with that one thing that we all believe is so important to every individual: dignity. That small access to credit program has, over the past 18 years, provided over $1 billion in small loans to hundreds of thousands of Iraqis and their families. Then CHF International also led a very large development program in Iraq funded by the U.S. Agency for International Development, the Iraq Community Action Program, that over a period of years invested over $150 million in the people of Iraq, with projects ranging from rebuilding sewage systems, working at the local level with municipal governments to improve waste management and other services, to support livelihoods and empower local communities at the grassroots level to have the resources and wherewithal to improve their lives of the most vulnerable citizens in their communities. Our commitment to Iraq and the Iraqi people remains as strong today as it was 18 years ago, and we look forward to working together with Iraqis and with all of you and continuing this vital work for many years into the future. Thank you so much.
David, thank you. And it's wonderful to hear about the incredible work you've done there as Global Communities over several years, and the impact that you've had, and really a little teaser on, you know, what we can expect going forward. So we're really excited about that, and really kudos to you and hats off for all that effort and progress that we've seen. Well, before we open it up, I'd love to go back to our kind of two main partners in this that we heard from at the top of the program, Bruce and Jorge, to see if they may have any reaction to the panel or their comments, or if they'd like to share any further perspective, having heard from our kind of all-star lineup of panelists there. Bruce, Jorge, any thoughts?
Bruce, I think he might be muted.
Bruce.
I think he's coming back.
unmute here. There we go. I just wanted to underscore a point made by several of the speakers of the importance of finance and a strong financial system to political and social stability and prosperity. Simple things like the ability to write checks or to use credit cards immeasurably assist all sorts of transactions. And what is being done here today, launching this new seminar project, I think creates the type of human capital that is absolutely essential to this type of financial development. So we're very proud that it's happening here in the Kurdistan region. We're proud that it should benefit the entire country and broader region. And again, our thanks to Jorge and the folks at AUIS who helped to put this together. Wolfgang Hink, our Vice President of Academic Affairs, really led that charge. Faratine Sumer, our Business Development and Business Department Chair, both contributed greatly to this effort.
Thank you for that, Bruce. Jorge, any thoughts?
Moved by so much that was said and wondering, well, now we have to, these are high expectations and we have to meet them. This is only the beginning of the road. And it will be a challenge, but I know that we will be successful. I know that your students, Bruce, are very talented and very eager to learn. So it's very easy to teach there. The lessons are difficult because we, after 17 years, of which I've been with MDEF only 11, are scars that essentially we're going to share with them. But I know that David, who I hope is in the audience today, at least he registered, and Rosemary, who I see and was the second general manager, smiling as usual, know the difficulties. And I thank everybody for your kind comments. This is a team effort over the years. I just drive a vehicle that was created by others and given to us. And I'm optimistic that in 10 months' time or so, after September, in May 2022, we'll be able to present you with very many Bastas telling us how happy they are that they attended the seminar.
Thank you very much, Jorge. I do want to turn to, I know we're delighted to have been joined by Representative Bayan Rahman. Bayan, if I could turn to you, and apologies, I think my Basset Hound is echoing his appreciation. He seems very excited, so he clearly says congratulations all. But Bayan, if I can, let me turn to you, please.
Good morning to those of us here at this side of the Atlantic. And good afternoon to our friends in Kurdistan and Iraq. Thank you, Steve, for organizing this. Great to see you, and thank you to Anna. And of course, it's great to see Bruce Ferguson, Jorge Vila. First time I'm seeing Jorge, I think, and all of the other speakers and guests. And really, I want to congratulate AUIS. You're always at the forefront of innovation and new ideas in higher education in Kurdistan, and I dare say in all of Iraq as well. So congratulations on that. So much has already been said on the need for this kind of program or seminar that's being offered. So I don't want to repeat those points. Just something personal, perhaps a personal reflection. I had no background in finance whatsoever. I read history at university in London. I worked as a journalist in regional newspapers and then at a Sunday newspaper, freelance, a national newspaper. And then suddenly I got a job at the Financial Times, which was very exciting. It's not only a national newspaper in Britain, it's a global newspaper. But overnight, I had to learn how to read a company's annual report. And these companies are blue chip, large companies, Toyota, Sony, Ford, I don't know, you name it. I suddenly had to understand not only how they operated and what they made, but I had to understand their annual reports. I also had to understand how the stock market and bond market worked. And I had to understand about credit, whether it was for a sovereign type of credit or debt, or whether it was for a company. So all of that came as a bit of a shock to me as a young journalist and having to learn all of this overnight. And of course, in the process, I also learned how important credit is, how important it is for all of us to really understand how finance works, how the financial services industry works, how the banking system works, how the corporate world and the world political economy works. I know in Kurdistan and Iraq as a whole, we're all very political. We're all very aware of international relations. We're all very aware of political dynamics. But I do sometimes wonder if we really take into account the economic side of our politics and our international relations. So kudos to AUIS for focusing on this. From what I've heard so far, I think this will be something that will be giving students at AUIS some very practical skills, and that's excellent. And so congratulations to AUIS, to Bell Finance, and to all who support this endeavor. And again, a very big thank you to Steve and the US Chamber for hosting this signing ceremony. And maybe one last point, here at the KRG representation in Washington, DC, we have an internship program. It's online currently because of the pandemic, but normally we would have anything from 2 to even 4 or 5 interns working with us at any given time. And over the past several years, we've had many interns from AUIS. They've always been super bright, very proactive, very impressive. And again, kudos to AUIS on having such wonderful students. And with that, I'll hand over back to you, Steve.
Well, Bayan, thank you so much. And it's very interesting to hear how finance impacted your career, as a reporter there with the Financial Times. It's an interesting take. So we appreciate that. And thank you for your leadership and your perspectives. At this time, we do have just a few minutes remaining, and we'd love to open it up if there's any further insights, perspectives, comments, from those in the audience. We'd love to just open it up, and we just ask you use the raise your hand function, and we're glad to call on you. Yes, I see a hand from Dr. Peter.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for U.S. Iraq Business Chamber. And actually, I appreciate everybody here. I'm very glad that I'm seeing, it's almost 20 years I left the region. So I'm seeing that lots of very, very, very strong actually participant and actually companies in this meeting. So my question is for Mr. Jorge Vila and Mr. Bruce, and the question is that we as a expat, how we can help. Me and myself as a program director for the Center of Cybersecurity at the University of Arizona, we have we teach students from all over the world. How to handle the affairs with the fintech and the security on the fintech, cybersecurity in the fintech, financial technology. So I was wondering what would be the opportunity to help you and participate as an expat in the endeavor, and how we can be a help. What's the capacity in that regard? Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I'll turn it, Bruce, Jorge, would love to have your thoughts on that.
Bruce?
Well, I would just point out that we have a very productive partnership with the University of Arizona to offer dual degrees in engineering, where students can get a degree in engineering from the University of Arizona without having to leave the Kurdistan region. So there may be a way to build on that, Peter, and I suggest we just talk about that separately. But the rest of your question, I'll refer to Jorge.
I'm thinking. We have 29 weeks.
Can I help you? Can I help you on one comment here, Jorge?
Sure, of course.
So basically, we are observing, like in the countries in Latin America, like El Salvador, they are using new technologies like blockchain and the kind of a distributed kind of a system of actually for distributing the credit. I'm talking about distributing credit and facilitating. So, I mean, is that the kind of a model can be implemented in the region? So that I'm just getting into the technology part of it. So that's I was just thinking of that.
It's a complex field. It's a complex area. Perhaps it would be better to discuss in the context of your AUIS larger relationship with your university. There must be a way in which we can exchange information that would help our students become better professionals. There must be a way. We just need to be imaginative and find it within the constraints of the time that we have. But your initiative is very well received. Thank you very much. And we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Peter, thank you for the question. And I would just say to any of the viewers, if you would like to get in touch and you don't have contacts at AUIS or with finance to follow up on potential ideas, as Peter suggested, you can obviously contact Anna or myself, and we'll be glad to make that connection. Because I think there's a lot of creative people on here, a lot of innovative people. So we're glad to help facilitate and build bridges here and put people in touch with one another. So feel free to reach out to us. And I know we've gotten a few comments in the comment section I saw from Mohammed Chanchal. So thank you to those that are adding to the comment section. Before we close down though, and I do know we're on the hour here, I did want to come back to Bruce and Jorge. Again, we've heard from a lot of great people, but I did want to offer you, before we close down this session, any final reflections, Bruce, Jorge?
I would just thank everybody for attending this call. One of the vital necessities of the region and of the country of Iraq are to create connections to the rest of the world. We cannot and must not be isolated from the world community. And this type of event is something that is very important to us as an institution, and I believe to the country and region. So thank you all so much for your interest and your support.
Thank you, everybody, for your kind words, for your support. And again, thank you, American University, for the privilege of teaching there. I'm not just saying it. I said it many times before. I said it to you, Bruce, when we first met, I believe, echoing Dennis's comments as well. American University is a most impressive project. Again, it's our privilege to be teaching there. I hope that in May, June 2022, we'll revisit this experience as history and we'll be able to show, as I mentioned, more Bastas, voices from the field who will take the story as is, without any poetry.
Well, Bruce, Jorge, and to all the participants, thank you for being with us today. Congratulations again to the American University of Iraq in Sulaimani and to Bell Finance. Really an important step. And at the U.S. Chamber, at the U.S. Iraq Business Council, we really do believe in the important aspect that finance plays to building the foundation of a more robust economy that taps into the entrepreneurial spirit and really builds up the SMEs that are desperately needed in Iraq. So congratulations. This is a great building block, and we look forward to hearing the progress on how things go with the seminar. Jorge, as you said, we look forward to meeting the next generation of Bastas and really seeing what comes out of a really great project like this. So congratulations to all involved, and thank you for being with us today as we announce this and kick this off. And thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.